Hi there, and welcome to a video that's been very highly anticipated by me because I have a couple blushes that I'm ready to get rid of, but I wanted to kind of see how they compare to my other blushes first and kind of like see where I stand. I've been kind of excited by blushes lately. I know that the whole world is on like the cream blush train, and I have a couple of them, and to be honest, I'm kind of just like not as into them as I am into powders. I've been trying to be into them, but like my face is just sticky and I don't want my face to be sticky and my hair gets stuck to it and I'm getting ahead of myself. But I do have a combination of powders and creams and liquids, and I want to kind of just like how I did in my highlighters video, which I'll link down below if you're curious about my highlighters collection. I'm going to swatch out my entire blush collection and we'll see what I'm working with. So I guess the ones I want to start out with are these e.l.f. bite-size cheek palettes. These were like one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite, find of 2020. I was so impressed with these. I love the quality. My biggest problem is that for most of them, the highlighter is too dark for me. So I pretty much only use the blush side, but for $3, it doesn't really bother me to only use half the product because I would spend $3 for this size blush anyway. So the one that does work for me with the highlight, but it's kind of like an odd blush color, this one is Cantaloupe, and I like it, but like I've had times that like once I was wearing it and my mom's like, why are your cheeks so yellow? And like not everyone has to get my style and it's fine, but sometimes I don't want to go out when people are like, is she okay? And I'm like, I did this on purpose. Yeah, this is one that I really like, but I don't know if I want it forever. I don't know if I want this to be one of my staple colors, but I do like it. It's pretty. These also, like, last summer I used them a lot. When I would do like really simple makeup, I would take one of these and use it as my crease shade and my under my eyeshadow, my lower lid, is that what I call it? And then I would just put like a little wing and it would match my blush and it would be like a really nice, cohesive, simple look. And I'm sure I could do that with any blush. I just was doing it specifically with this one and with Spice Apple, which I'll show you in a minute. And I was really enjoying them for this. So I like this as like an eye shade as well as using it for a cheek shade. The next weird one is called White Peach, which is slightly peachier, has like a little bit more pink and depth in it than Cantaloupe does. I just really like the formula of these two. They really go on nicely. They're not too pigmented, but they're not too unpigmented. So yeah, so you can see there, it's orange. It's not quite as like odd of a color though. So the next two are kind of on their last leg. This is Spice Apple. This is my favorite one. This is one that I'm not going to repurchase right now, but I kind of like have a fantasy of my blush collection being a little more compact, and this being one that I have in my collection. This was the other one that I was really loving using for my eyes. There's like little bits of powder. Hopefully I can get like a decent enough swatch up. It's like pretty much done, but I was like, I'm gonna save the pan just to get a swatch for that video. Hopefully this is accurate. The swatch is a little light just because there's like nothing in there. But I think you can kind of get like the gist of the tone. It's a really pretty kind of like, I'd say like a burnt mauve. It's not, I don't think of it as brown as it looks right here, but it's still like a very kind of like cool girl kind of color, you know? And I really like it. As you can tell, I used it the hell up, and I'm not gonna wait to like do an empties or whatever. I'm just going to get this out of my collection right now. And the last one that I have in those e.l.f. bite size is Lychee. Lychee, I need to look up, I'm gonna look up how to say that.
Lychee.
Lychee?
Lychee.
I would have never guessed lychee. Okay, lychee. This one also is falling apart. This one I've had for less long than I've had Cantaloupe and Spice Apple, but I really like this one also. I think of it as similar to Spice Apple, but like a little bit more pink. So I think out of the two of them, like I don't really need both, and I like Spice Apple more, but I really enjoyed this shade. It's such a pretty color though, wow. I really like it. I wish this shade was coming up like a little bit more like punchy in the swatch, but that's just because I don't have a lot of it. But those are my 4 e.l.f. bite-sized cheeks. This one I'm going to keep for a couple more days and just kind of finish it off the little chunks, but I'm not going to come back and declutter it. Consider it decluttered now. This is another one that I've been kind of working through. I think I got this in an Ipsy years ago. An Ipsy I canceled in like 2017, so I probably got this in like 2016 or 2017. It's this Pacifica Coconut Blush Duo, and I like it. It doesn't like excite me, but I like it. I've been using it. It is like a formula that I feel like every time I dip my brush into it, just like so much comes up, and that's why I've like been going through it so much. Like this one, I only hit pan like a couple days ago. I don't know. Maybe I've used it a lot. Because maybe that is a thing sometimes with like once you hit pan, like you can't stop hitting pan, like it keeps breaking off. But yeah, I like these colors. I feel like I do kind of sell this one short in my head a little bit because I like it, but I'm ready to have it out of my collection just because it's kind of been in my collection for so long. That's not a very good swatch. But I guess you can kind of see the tones. I like those sort of tones when they're kind of like more of like a dusty color instead of being like a bright color. So yeah, I'm gonna show you the palette that I've been kind of obsessed with. I tried this out in a video that I should have posted recently where I tried a couple new products, and this Colourpop Sugar Frosted palette was one of them. And I'm so excited about this palette. I'm so gung-ho about this. I'm wearing it today on my cheeks. I think like the highlight shade is like really pretty, that it's light enough for me, but it still has like this like interesting kind of like bronzy reflect that I don't usually get in highlighters that are light enough for me. And the blushes are all just like really pretty tones like I like. They all work for me. I kind of end up kind of swirling my brush into 2 of them usually, but I'm going to swatch them all separately for you right now. That's not coming up very well. It's funny with blushes how they could like just come up so differently in swatches based on like their level of pigment or whatever. It's like hard to tell if these are even comparable, but I guess, I mean, this must be more similar to what I get on my cheek as opposed to what I see in the pan, right? Interesting. Another blush that I really like, I have in this Hourglass Ambient palette. It's the Lighting Edit Mini Sculpture Unlocked. The blush is called Mood Flush, and I just really like this formula. In my fantasy tiered down blush collection, I have like at least one more Hourglass, or maybe like sometimes I'm like, I want all of my powder products to be Hourglass because they make my skin look so good. I don't think that'll happen, but that is a fantasy that I have sometimes. Yeah, I feel like when I want, I've said this in my highlighter video also, but like when I want my skin to look really good and not like makeup, I wear that. Recently, I've also been wearing the Colourpop one like I am today, but this Hourglass one really gets the job done. So it's a little bit more pinky than a lot of these others. It kind of looks similar to Lychee, or like a little bit more cool than Lychee does. Nice. I'll show you my brightest blush, which is this Tah Blush. I have the shade She's That Girl. I don't know why I was inspired by the pink, but I do like it. I'm kind of surprised by how much I like it. I've actually never touched the cream product, but I guess I'll touch it today. But I always use the powder. And I've swatched it before also and been like, wow, that is so bright. But somehow I really like it in my face. And that cream, it just feels like cream. I'm gonna start swatching over here. I hope it's okay if I'm out of order. So there's the powder side, and there's the cream side. I wish the shades were like a little bit more different. I'm kind of like, why do I even need those two? Or like if the collection had like, you know, like the option to buy them in like a powder or a cream formula. I get that companies want to make things bigger because it keeps their costs down, but I don't think I'll be using the cream, but I like the powder, and like you can see, it is very different from all these other blushes that I have in my collection. It gives me a little something different. This Colourpop one I've really been loving also. I think I just am a big fan of the Colourpop Blush formula. This is the shade Kiss and Tell. This is like from their Valentine's collection, and I remember seeing that girl Shay swatch this, and I thought it was gonna be like so light that it would even be too light for my fair to light skin, but it's like the perfect shade of me, and I really like the formula. It's really pretty. Yeah, I've been using this one a lot. Oh, that's so pretty. I love that. And that looks different also. Maybe it's kind of similar to, what were these again? These were the Colourpop ones. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I feel like if anything, it's more similar to the Colourpop ones, but it is pretty unique in my collection. It's like a pretty baby pink without being too pink. It like leans a little bit more corally than it does on any kind of cool side, and I really like it. I feel like those kind of shades just go well with like the most looks. I'm not someone that wants my blush to like really tell a story. Like I want it to just kind of like flatter my face and go with my eyes, but my eyes are still the main story, you know? Next I have these two Cover FX palettes. This one is Soft Peach. These are the monochromatic blush duos. I haven't used these in a while actually, just because where they've been placed in my collection, and I have a lot of ones that are a little bit newer, but I do really like these. Usually I just use the matte side, or like I'll swirl into both, but I'll swatch both sides for you today. I'm gonna start over here. Such a pretty color. And I feel like they are a little bit different. Like this shimmery one looks like a little bit more browny, and this one looks like a little bit more peach. I really like the formula. I feel like compared to these two e.l.f. ones, these are like a little bit more like literal orange, and this is like a very wearable kind of orange eyeshadow. I guess that's what makes it peach, but still. The other one I have is Warm Honey. Really pretty. I need to use these more. I wish I could use like as many cheek products in a day as I do eyeshadows, but like you wouldn't see all of them if I did that. So pretty. Wow, that's so pretty. Okay. I feel like, maybe Spiced Apple is still more brown. I was gonna say I feel like these have the essence of that, but I think this one might still be more brown. I don't want to talk myself into thinking that like all of these are different, because like they're not that different on my cheeks, but I really like my collection. This is one that I kind of had off to the side for a while, that I think it came in an Ipsy, and I don't know what I was doing with it. Like, you ever have just like a stack of weird products that you're like, oh, maybe I'll use those one day, and then you'll just never use them unless like you intentionally go and use them? That's how it happened with this one. This is from Shayna B Miami. I've never heard of it. The color is Bellini, and it looks like this, and it's pretty. It's nothing that excites me, but it's a pretty shade. The formula feels nice. Yeah, I feel like it's somewhere between these two actually. It's like close to this one, but it has like a little bit more peachiness to it. We're almost done with my powders. I have a couple that are loose that I have in like this big Colourpop palette. Well, the palette's not from Colourpop, but everything that is in it is from Colourpop. The palette is Adept, if you were wondering. This blush is in the shade Main Chick, and I remember Jay Kissa suggested it years ago, and I bought it, and I do really like it, but I always forget to use it because I just don't think of like single blushes. But it's really nice. I like the formula. I think I really just do like Colourpop's powder blush formula. It looks very bright in the swatch. Yeah, I was wondering if it's going to be similar to White Peach, but I think it's way more watermelon, and if anything, it's more similar to lychee, but maybe still like a bit more bright. I find that on the cheeks, when I use it with like a light hand, it doesn't look as bold as you would think here, but it still is like, it's a statement without being too much of a statement, you know what I mean? And then the other single blush I have is Excuse My French, and this is really pretty also. Yeah, just like slightly lighter than this one. How can I have this many similar colors on my arm and not be like, oh, these are exactly the same? Doesn't make any sense. I used to have one of Kathleen Light's single powder blush shades also. I don't think they have any of the Kathleen Light's products still on the Colourpop website, but it was like solstice something. It was something like, you know, astrology, moon, stars, suns related, and it was just like too pigmented for me. So I guess sometimes that they do kind of add too much pigment to their blushes for my taste, but maybe that means that it works well on other people and just on me, and that's all right. So I have this Moon Prism blush palette from Manny MUA, his Lunar Beauty, that's the name of the brand. And I used this for the first time in a video in like February when I was trying new products. And I have to admit, I've been forgetting about it a lot. I think the shades are really pretty, but in that video, you'll see I was surprised at how pigmented they are, and it was kind of like, oof, when I first used it. And, you know, that's a thing with like filming my first impressions, is that like, you know, it's not, sometimes like a learning curve's not a bad thing. I think sometimes brands use a learning curve as an excuse, and it's just like, I'm not gonna change my whole makeup style for this one product so you can tell me that it's good, because it should just like work easily. You know, like I never tried the subculture, but I think of that with like the subculture thing when Anastasia is being like, well, you're all using it wrong. But I think with blushes, I'm okay remembering that, oh, this one I need to have a lighter hand, or this one I need to swirl my brush a little bit extra in. And so this, I didn't know that it was like a very pigmented blush. So I'm okay with the pigmented blush, but the first time that I use it, I'm gonna be surprised, you know? So I do really like these shades. I forget to use them, and they're very pigmented. I guess that's what I have to say there. I'm kind of running out of space, but I guess I'll go by the elbow. So first I'm gonna swatch Pink Moon, Twilight, and Spacey. Pink Moon, Twilight, Spacey. It's interesting also because with Spacey, I kind of like think of it as just being way too deep for me. Like, this is the shade in the palette that that's just not for me. But seeing it compared to my other shades, I'm like, it looks like the same kind of like depth of lychee. Lychee? I already forgot how to say it. I kind of like don't believe that's how you say it. Can you, if you know how to say Lychee, can you let me know? Thank you. Next, I'm going to swatch Soleil, Stargaze, and Gravity. So this is Soleil, that's a shimmery one, Stargaze, and Gravity. Sorry for the weirdest swatches of all time. Right on my elbow. Pretty. I can't believe I have this many. I didn't realize that I have this many blushes until you put them all out on your arm. And now we're ready for my little cream collection. I might swatch these on my hand. Really running out of real estate here. This one is pretty new in my collection. I've only used it a couple times, but the couple times I used it, I liked it a lot. This is the Natasha Denona Puff Paint, the liquid blush. You know, people always talk so highly about Natasha Denona, and she very infrequently has vegan products. So sometimes she does, and I'm like, ooh, that's for me. And this one I think was only like $22, which for her is a very low price. I'm sure it doesn't have a lot of product in it, and that's why, but still, yeah, I like it. I like the like big weird paddle. It's like a very natural shade, but I also like that about it, that it doesn't really have that like pink in it or like brick or orange. It's kind of just like a weird yellowy tan. I also have two of the cream blushes from Fenty. One that I got was the shade Fuego Flush, which is like the weird orange shade. And I like it, but I don't know. It's an odd color. And on top of that, I'm not crazy about creams, but I have been using it a lot. When I use a concealer that's like a little bit not enough coverage for me, I've been using this as like my under eye cancel out the blue tones kind of thing. So it is kind of nice that it's been getting like some work because of that. It is like a little bit shimmery, so it's not perfect for that, but like once I have the concealer over it, you can't really tell. And the other shade that I have is Rose Latte or Rosé Latte, which I think might be like a little bit too deep for me, but I guess we'll see how this one compares also. And I do wear it from time to time. I just have to remember to like use a tiny dab and really blend it out a lot. So this is Fuego Flush and Rosé Latte. Yeah, they had a pink one in the collection, I think like Petals or something like that. That at the time when the collection came out, I just wasn't that interested in. And then after, I was like, that probably just would have been a better shade for me. I also have this Tower 28 blush in the shade Magic Hour. This is the Beach Please blush. And I like this one, but I don't love this. It's a really pretty shade though. I like it. I don't know why this lychee keeps standing out at me, that I keep referencing this, but it does look very similar to that one, in my opinion. This next one, this is the Cheek Dew from Colourpop in the shade Kiss Kiss, and you could even see like the oil in it just like moving around. And I get like things separate, but this one's just kind of like a mess to me, and I find it hard like now when I squeeze it out to get like the combined mixture. Like sometimes I get like a squirt of pigment and then like a squirt of oil, and then it's just like a mess on my hands already. So I think this one I'm going to declutter today. It's a shame because I like the color of it a lot, but I think like the formula, even at its best, is like way more slick and oily than the other cream cheeks that I have, and I just don't like wearing it. I don't like my face being that like greasy. Oh, and it dripped on my leg just holding it. You are out of here, mister. Yeah, I like that it's like a kind of like a almost orange brown. But maybe it's kind of similar to my elbow color. Right? Yeah. We're almost done. This is the Kaja Cheeky Stamp, I think it's called. I have the shade Koi. I got this last like May, I think, and it was in a set with one of like the Air Kiss lipsticks that I really like. And I like this blush also, but I think that like the stamp thing is gimmicky. I don't need to stamp a heart on my cheek that then I have to blend out, and it's so bulky because of the stamp. Like this is the part of the product, and we have all this in there for nothing. And it's one of those like sponge products. Remember when those sponge foundations were so popular years ago? Maybe not the best swatch, but it's a pretty color. And I do like that this one, like, it feels softer and not like oily or greasy or really creamy. Like I feel like this is one that sits on my face and doesn't bother me as much. And last I have the e.l.f. Active Workout Ready Lip and Cheek Palette. I bought this on Hannah Louise Poston's recommendation, and I forget to use it, but I do really like it. I like the tones of it. Actually, I think we can say I've only used this blush of it. I'll try to use the others sometime soon. We'll swatch them all today. Those are perfect. I feel like that lightest one is pretty similar to Magic Hour. And even this deepest one is pretty similar to Rose Latte. Right? Oh yeah. I'm not going to do anything crazy right now, but I'm going to keep that in mind. And this is my whole blush collection in all of its weirdly swatched glory. I did not think I had this many blushes. Cool. Thank you so much for being here and taking this dive into my blush collection with me. If you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And there's a lot more kind of like collections and using what I have and indie makeup and that kind of stuff on the way. And that's everything. Bye.